Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? You are tuned into Unhinged Live. I'm your host, Tilted Halo, sitting alongside my very, very, very good girlfriend, Karen Sims of Twisted Threads LLC. I'm uber excited about tonight's show, of course, as I always am. But first and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We do not take your viewership lightly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'd also like to seize the opportunity in this moment to go ahead and say welcome and thank you to all of our replay viewers. We appreciate you. Do us a favor. Tell your mama, your uncle, your cousin, all your friends about the good work, the exciting work, and all of the laughter that you experience here from Unhinged Live. You know, we do what we do just for you. And baby, hear it in my stutterations because you know how I get when I get excited. I get to stuttering. But check it out. I want to go ahead and give you a quick rundown about what's going to happen on tonight's show. Of course, you're going to hear an impactful conversation between us.
All right, and we're going to keep it going. You're going to hear that conversation between us and our special guest. Yes, the author, the speaker, extraordinaire talk show host, Jamie Watkins. And then we're going to get into a little bit, you already know, we're going to get into our Merrily Down the Stream. And then that favorite segment that you all like, what's really going on. Now, listen, grab your passports because we also may or may not be joining and going along to what views from the petty pew. Listen, y'all, we got a lot to talk about today. And as always, I'm prepared. Are you ready? I'm ready because you know that before we end out tonight, you're going to get your reflections of purpose. But I want you to, I already said grab your passports. I already am reminding you that, listen, we're about to go to a couple of places today. And why is it so exciting for us? Well, because as you can see right now, listen, even when the machine want to act like it's not really oil, that's why I get to come along as co-host with Tilted Halo, talk show, radio, live, podcast, whatever you want to call us, extraordinaire. We get to come on here, and our most favorite part, we get to spend time with you all, whether it's in real time, whether you're on the playback, but we know that the messages that we are bringing are going to be impactful. So we don't want you to miss a thing. Keita, you already know, Tilted. I get to sit in the seat right now and ask you.
These powerful conversations. We shut it down every single time. There's so much power on the line. So
yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay. I don't know what that is tonight. Listen, y'all know Kevin will do a takeover in a minute. So don't you even start it. All right. So listen, I'm going to jump in here. And before we bring our special guest in, we're going to get it started. And I'm going to tell y'all, because y'all know this is the part where we be like, so Karen, what's really going on? Well, you know what? How was your week? I'm glad. So I'm going to take that and be my own co-host. See, aren't y'all happy that I'm a actor and entertainer? Karen, how has your week been? I'm glad that you asked. My week has been good. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm super excited for Jamie to be here, because I also need to get my life right. I need to put happiness in a couple of places, and we're going to get it there. Why? Because it's super important for us, as we know kind of the things that have already happened. It's only Tuesday, and if Monday was Monday in for you, like my Monday was Monday in for me, honey, listen, we gonna need extra doses of this and just keep it on replay for a couple of times so that we are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And I promise, this is the reason why we usually are like, listen, y'all gotta get in here. And probably, sometimes you try to keep it a secret, but when there's technical difficulties, yes, I need you to know. But listen, I'm gonna bring our special guest in from the hallway. Y'all know when the doorbell rang, we'd be like, "Who's there?" And we got somebody exciting today that we want you all to know. If you don't know, we want to introduce, reintroduce, or allow you the opportunity to get better acquainted with our special guest, Jamie Watkins. So I hear the knock on the door. I'm gonna let our sister in.
Hello.
Jamie. So
How are
excited.
you?
I'm doing great. And this is one thing why Tilted and I really get along so well, because we have the same energy in our heart for when we have these productions and when we have the production meetings. Listen, we done already said this gonna be good, girl. You got the
Yes, that's how you know. That's how you know when stuff starts. I'm like, oh,
that's
now
how you know.
That means it's gonna be good.
All this power
very,
on the
very
line. What more could we expect? Come on, it is. We know. We already
There
know.
you go.
It. So we done already I want to check in with you and ask, like, how are you doing? So I told them how I was doing. I did it. Karen, how you doing? I'm glad you were.
Okay, I know how you do, girl. Well, I'm out here trying to live my best life in these early days of sprummer. You've seen my posts recently. I've been running from all the honeybees, the wasps, the cicadas, all the winged insects that have decided to make an early appearance this year. Yes. I have been dealing with that, as well as a tremendous amount of pollen, because all of the trees are blooming. So I'm just trying to deal and make sure I protect my throat, because I got to talk to y'all and I got to sing every now and again. So yeah, I just been doing pretty well. I've also recently received the recognition down at the store as Employee of the Month from simply doing what I do, here on the platform right there in the store. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be hands-on with people in the community. I'm having conversations with people from every single walk of life. And I'm telling you, I'm growing even more just from the interactions from the different folks I get to service a few days a week. You dig?
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Love it.
That is a beautiful thing. So listen, we done brought Jamie in from the hallway. She was knocking on the door, so we got the privilege to let her in, and I'm super excited to kind of just dig in and allow our folks to get to know you, Jamie, a little bit more, and and understand why we are so excited to have you joining us today. And so, Jamie, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, your upbringing, your family, and just all of that kind of brought you into this space, in short or long version, whichever way you want to go through the neighborhood to talk about yourself and how you came to be known and build your brand. And so I don't want to say more, because I want you to, take the reins on how you feel to direct that answer.
Loaded, all of the journey, right? Well, one, I'm happy to be here. We Grow Better is one of my business mottos. And so we grow better together. I love community. I love us. And so I'm delighted to have the opportunity to share in conversation. So yes, I am Jamie Watkins. That is my favorite title, just being me, and being able to know who that is and love who that is. And so that's first and foremost. I'm Jamie. And then, yes, I am wife to my wonderful husband, Ricky. I have 3 boys, 1 girl. And as far as history and upbringing, I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised, although I reside in PA now, but always a Jersey girl. And I'm the baby of 5. And so my parents were together 41 years when my father passed. My mom is still here with me, thank God. And so that I lost my spoiler alert for some, but some of you know my story. I lost my brother when I was 9, he was 21. And that was the catalyst, I would say, of the journey ahead that ultimately led me to a very dark place that I often talk about. And it's important to share that place so that you can appreciate the happiness coach that I am today. And so I did find myself inevitably getting divorced out of a toxic marriage, but that was a result of a self-love journey that I embarked on at my lowest point, and decided, I'm going to love myself enough to believe who God says I am, not who I had allowed myself. This says it all, right? My first tattoo is enough. You are enough. That's something I had to learn to embrace and believe. And so that self-love journey allowed me to get out of that toxic marriage. It allowed me to embark on a journey to find purpose and happiness. Ultimately, yes, I got remarried, but my happiness is not in the marriage. I brought my happiness to the marriage. And so I've been able to just grow from there. It's a continuous journey, still growing, still evolving. But about 13 years out of that relationship, but about 5 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm not going to let the divorce define me and disqualify me from what I know I'm called to do. That I had done, right? Well, who's going to listen to me now when I know I'm called to exalt? I know I'm called to help. And so I started a blog for women that may find themselves where I was, not necessarily in a toxic marriage, but just at a low point of not believing that they're worthy and enough. And what started as a blog called My Piece of Happy, my sister helped me with that name, evolved into what more can I offer in this space once that got good results and, good feedback. So I got my coaching certification that led to speaking, writing my book, and still just showing up in that space. And now I help women to write their books and their stories. So I know I said a lot, but hopefully.
No, that's amazing stuff, Jamie. And I really appreciate your transparency and your bravery and making sure you step into what you knew you were predestined to do in sharing your self-love and healing journey to ultimately find your place in happy. I was able to go ahead and read some excerpts from your book, and you spoke a lot about the revisiting the trauma by, of losing your brother and how it caused you to live your life in such a way. Was there anything that was a light bulb moment that made you just pause and really say, hey, this is why, that made that moment from your past,
that's what that was,
relatable to where you were in that moment, or had progressed to when you were writing the book?
It was actually writing the book. That was very therapeutic. It was revisiting that to write about it and realizing I think I needed some therapy. Like I probably would have benefited from some grief counseling, as I'm revisiting it and opening that up, because I wrote it after the coaching, after getting certified in the science of well-being. So I understood more. So as I'm now visiting her, going back, I'm almost like coaching her, like, wait a minute, this, why you're doing this, right? Like, as I'm revisiting my older self. And so where I was saying, I give an example, and as it relates to my brother's death, I categorized it. I said I had a reality of mortality at such a young age, right? So that whole you only live once kind of just free, kids just don't really think tomorrow might not come, right? It's this, I'm just gonna, caution to the wind and try these daring things. And I was not that child, but it was because I always had this morbid almost reality that, I could die tomorrow. Like you might not live to see that, or right. So this bucket list that I had at 9 years old, these are the things I want to do before I'm 21, because my brother died at 21. So my reality was like, you may not forget 30, like forget when I'll do that when I'm older. Like I might not live that long. So that became perfectionism. That became controlling, right? I can't control this death that may happen any day now. So everything I can control, I will, which gave me OCD tendencies. But this was a hindsight as I was writing. That's where that came from. That's where that started. Whereas I would say, oh, I'm just a perfectionist. No, I'm just so scared of messing up and not getting this right. Wow. So it wasn't a get it right. I just have all my ducks in a row. And no, I'm so scared of messing up that I'm just really trying to get this right. And so I had to address that fear. I had to address the freedom on the other side of like, I can't live. I had ulcers at 16, stomach ulcers from stress that I didn't realize. Even when I got diagnosed, and they're like, of course, they're like, oh, your stomach, you're pregnant. I'm like, I'm a virgin. So right. It's like, oh, stomach ulcers, but nobody's thinking stomach ulcers because I was 14 the first time. I got rushed to the ER. But once they're like, oh, it's a stomach ulcer, nobody really dug deeper, like, why? What is bringing about this on a 14-year-old? But it was stress I didn't even recognize as stress. Trying to do those things, trying to make sure that I get to graduate, I get to buy the house, I get married, I get to, do these things before 21. And so that was the process, revisiting that and digging that up, which is why I help women in that space. It's not just like, oh, write a book. I'm in the mental wellness space of like, let's write your story. You don't even have to publish it. That's up on you if you want to do book tours and all that jazz. But write the story, revisit and write the story so that you can see where you've come from. Mm-hmm. And you can find those places those aha moments, like you said, right? Yeah. That's why I do that. It's because they said this to me, or that's why right? It was just very therapeutic and very impactful to me. And I got the vision to write my book 3 years prior to. God crystal clear showed me that. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I have a book in me. Yay. One day he'll give it to me. Like that was my so I just was like, oh, I have this book in me. Oh, like, oh yeah, you should write a book. Oh, I know, yeah, I have a book in me. I'm gonna write it one day. And finally getting hit in the head with obedience, because I was not being obedient. I got really convicted, like, okay, God was like, don't ask me for anything else. Like, you haven't even done what I told you. And so I got really convicted and was like, I got to write this book. I wrote it in 3 weeks. Broke through all of this. And it was so evident when I started writing, like, oh, this isn't even for me. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't just for me. Mm-hmm. And so my intro is this apology to my reader, like, somebody needed this. And I've been sitting like, oh, yeah, I got a book in me. Like, like somebody needed this. And so every time I hear a review or someone comes up to me, it's just it never gets old. And I'm always appreciative that my delay didn't delay the breakthrough, and mm-hmm. that I can still share. And that's why everybody has that. Everybody has a story. That's why the We Grow Better Together is so important in my motto, because when we conversate like this and share each other's stories, we truly grow better together. You know that you're not alone. You know that it gets better. And so I think that our testimony, we know, right, we're overcome by the blood of the Lamb and our testimony, our story.
Revelation 12:11.
Yes. It is so impactful. And I think we owe it to ourselves, right? Because there's healing in that. Yeah. And we owe it and have a responsibility to the people assigned to us that need to know that they're where we were. And now we've gotten through it. And we're not going to go back and be like, hey, let me help you. Let me tell you some things I did, right? Every journey is not identical, but there's a lot that can help somebody else.
And, one of the things, Jamie, that I'm glad you brought that up, because that was like one of like reading that excerpt, that first line of, I'm sorry it took so long, and although I know it was on time, it was like, mm-hmm. Yes, like you introduce yourself without saying anything about you, with just like those first 2 lines. And I know it also gives an opportunity for you to connect with your village people in that particular sense, because it's like,
I get a little emotional thinking about.
Yes, I mean, but it was
feeling that thing, like, oh,
I promise.
But I got you now, like, come with me.
It was like, listen, sis, I'm sorry that it took so long. I'm even sorry that we are meeting like
Yes.
this right now. Should have happened. And I know, Tilton and I have had that sort of cathartic moment with writing with
Yeah.
the one project that we have, and there's more. And I love it because, as you started talking about the and some of it we don't relate to as trauma until later. And that's the challenge with that.
Right.
But even as we could see, from our parents, and I'm reminded of a story, my mother used to always put like more food in the pantry than the law allowed. Like she would use 1 can of beans and then 5 can of beans had to come back. And it'd be like, who eating all these beans, Ma? But I
Right.
never understood her story about how she grew up poor
There was a
after
lack.
her mother had died very young. And so they literally had to scrap for food. And in her mind, it was, we gonna always have it because we don't know when it's gonna go away. Now, I was grown
Yes.
and didn't get the revelation of this until probably a few years after my mom's passing, because I still was like, what we doing with all these after her
With all
passing?
these-
You got clean up. What we doing with all these beans? Okay, how many beans?
Yes.
How many corn? How much?
But isn't that something?
Yes.
But it's the absolute truth. If you would allow me to interject here, Karen, I'm sure you're familiar with the journey. We got that information, how certain external behaviors are relative to trauma. And how exactly going through the journey, we were required to journal every single day. And, our coaches pushed us to push past just a little surface answer that we've been allowed to give at so many points in our life. So yeah, that the trauma response is crazy in the aftermath of a challenging youth, if that makes any sense. I connected with so much of what you said, Jamie. It's absolutely amazing. And now, I know Karen gave you the disclaimer. You never know where Tilted Halo is going to take you. So be ready, be ready, be ready. While I was reading, you did share that you believe that you have an undiagnosed case of ADHD. Girl, I feel the same way. All right.
I knew that was going to resonate.
If it hasn't already displayed here.
Well, I guess that's simply why I took the opportunity to name this show Unhinged, because I couldn't fit myself into a box. I bring so many things to the table. So look, we're gonna keep it, we're gonna keep it.
If it comes.
Yeah, you're gonna get what you get. But yes. Glory be to God, it always works. Now, I wanted to ask you why you chose to title your book, as well as your talk show, which we'll discuss in a little bit, why you chose to name it My Piece of Happy.
That, like I said, my sister helped me with that. And it's just easy to keep everything, website, book, talk show, just keep it the same. This is where you find me. But when I wanted to start the blog, I told her what I wanted, and I just kept this happiness and this peace that I found I want. I just kept repeating these words, and I'm like, we were trying to just come up with things and search to see if the domain was already taken. And she's like, why don't you just say, and I initially was like peace of, and then I'm like, peace, I said peace of mind, I said something, and she was like, why don't you do a play on that with My Piece of Happy? And as soon as she said it, I was just like, that's it. So I really have to give kudos to her, because I was like, we were going down the list, like, what about this? What about that? And I just like, no. And then we landed on that, and then I defined it now. I came up with, that's exactly what I want it to be. And that's defined as that ultimate fulfillment that you find in happiness, purpose, and lifestyle success. That encompasses all of that. So anyone, right, can just lean into there, but owning it for yourself, right? My piece of happy. Finding that freedom in Christ, finding the belief that you are exactly who he says you are, and leaning into that, choosing happy for yourself. So it just encompasses everything. So that's where it came from. And it just made sense that this is my piece of happy, that the book, the talk show would just mimic that.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Love it, love it.
Yes.
So now
Thank
we
you.
gonna mosey on down the road and talk a little bit about some more of the work that you're doing, because you launched last season of your talk show, and now you are preparing for season 2. So you know you official
Yes.
when you get into season 2. Come on now. And so as
Yes.
we celebrate that with you, can you talk a little bit about what that journey was through season 1? And maybe share a little bit about what you're hopeful for from maybe lessons learned as you move into season 2. So a snippet of season 1 and what we
yes.
see for season 2.
Absolutely. So we had the high of season 1 where we were we got nominated and we won the award for best new TV show. So that was amazing. We got season 2, and we hit over season 1 last time. I got my numbers was over 500,000 views streaming. So that was exciting. And then the lessons learned, right? What did we learn from season 1? Well, it was my first time producing. Well, I didn't produce it, doing a talk show, and my producer producing a talk show. She usually does movies. And so we had mic issues, we had lighting issues. And so we just came back to the table. Specifically, like episode 2, I had to do a disclaimer in the front of it. Well, I didn't have to, but it was my like, I gotta tell somebody like what happened here. So like my mic slips in my shirt. It feels, I mean, it sounds like I'm wrestling with a bag of chips, but I was like, I owe it to my guests, because their voice matters. Like I can't scrap my perfectionism, right? Can't scrap this episode. So I just prepared my guests like, you're gonna have to lean in, right? You're gonna have to not be distracted by the crinkle, but listen to the message.
Yeah.
And that helped me, one, to get past that, right? Like, listen, stuff happens. Remember the impact that you're trying to make. And we learned. We took notes after season 1, and we geared up for season 2. And I'm really excited for everyone to see the growth, the impact. The message is still the same. We're empowering women in the space of self-love, happiness, mental wellness. So we talk about all the things, relationship. We talk about season 1 was a lot of like overwhelm. We air in May. So that's Mental Health Awareness Month. So that whole month is dedicated to mental health awareness. So we have self-care for moms. We talk about people getting diagnosed and how you deal with a tough diagnosis, things like that. And so it's the conversations that we really need to have. And again, we grow better together. That just to have women show up in the space. It's not interviews. It's really just conversations to show up and share their stories and share what they know, so that viewers in the community out there can gain and grow better together with us.
Awesome. Well, we're excited for season 2. It's wonderful to see.
Thank you so much.
The amount of success, but we love also that, during this journey, you get to share. Listen, we are just keeping it real in the best type of way, with accountability, with love, and sharing good messages with folks. So that's super exciting for us as we get to celebrate you and see just the expansion as you're on your journey. So yes, the folks are watching. We see, and what an amazing seat to sit in, to be able to see all of the impact that you are making.
Oh, to God be the glory. Thank you so much.
Yes,
it's beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So as you're doing your talk show, because before I get into that, Karen and I can relate to everything you shared as far as taking notes from your season 1. Didn't that sound familiar, Karen? Oh my goodness, I had to become my own sound engineer, troubleshoot, and I'm grateful that God granted me with the time and the patience to be able to sit here and figure things out, even as we're approaching year 1. For children
awesome
media. We got some things laid out as we press past season 1 for us officially, and launch what we got in the bag for season 2. I'm very excited. So just thank you so much for
Nice.
sharing everything that you experienced as you've been developing your brand, especially your show, because there's so many people, and I hope those of you who are creative in our listening audience, you're taking notes and you hear that this thing is not going to be smooth as butter straight out the
Right.
gate always.
Mhm.
Give yourself grace and space to
Absolutely.
continue to grow, because as you shared, Jamie, we make this thing work. You saw how we made it work when
Yes.
StreamYard decided to kick me off my own platform tonight. It,
Right.
it works.
You just listen, we roll with it.
Exactly, because this is actually a piece of me. It's a whole joy tsunami over here.
Yes.
So we lean and rock and we ride the waves of our own personal successes as we enjoy these
I love it.
conversations that we're able to share. I want to ask you, what's a fun fact about you that someone may not know?
A fun fact that I have, don't ask me when the last time I used it, but I have my junior black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's always a fun fact for people like, really? I'm like, yes. I would have had my black belt, but my daughter just had to nurse every 2 hours, and it just like, I was like, I can't do the 6-hour run, guys. I can't do the boot camp. I did get my junior black belt pregnant with her, but she came and was like, yeah, that's enough of that.
I mean, that's a different type of black belt. Being a mommy is a different type of black belt. So
yes, right. I earned my stripe.
You a whole black belt. You a 2nd degree black belt. How many children you got?
Right. Yes. But yeah, that's a fun fact. And that I want to live in Paris. That's one that is usually like, really? You think that's like, where'd that come from? And I'm like, yeah, that's my goal.
I love it. I'm here for
and that's
it.
fun. Listen, we are world travelers, so we're here for it. And we also appreciate when folks say they want to go to other countries, because that gives us a reason to roll through. So please, we support your dream. Go ahead on to Paris.
That's right.
So that means when I go ahead and retire abroad, my little piece of an island, y'all will have a place to come and suntan with me.
Absolutely. Because I gotta go somewhere warm when it's cold in Paris. I'll come
exactly. Enjoy the meals that are going to be prepared at my beachside bistro. It's a whole vision, y'all. Yes. It's a whole vision. All right.
I am in alignment.
Yes, I told you you were supposed to be here, girl.
Listen. Oh, for some reason, Australia is on my list of that abroad living. Whether it's for a short time or a long time, I don't know. But
that's on our list to definitely visit Australia.
Yes. So,
well, you do know that that's my retirement vacation. Australia.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, look at that. No surprise to me how we get.
Yeah, we all girl by.
I'm gonna be there, so come on through. I'm gonna be there.
So I got you in Paris.
Black girls travel. If it ain't something, it's gonna be something.
We're gonna make it something. That is the truth. The world is big, and you literally.
Yes. That is so. I'm glad you said that. Just back to childhood, and right. It's so important for me to like. It was important for me to let my children know that they have options.
Yeah.
This is not everything. There's a whole world.
A whole world.
Yeah.
A whole world.
Yes.
And it definitely is something, when we think about those topics or things that are taboo in our community and in the way that, we grew up. There's so many people that have not experienced even just leaving the United States. And so that's been big for me, not just with my children, but also with my grandchildren. It's like, I need y'all to know that, yes, you could go to every state, and every state here in America is wonderful, or it has some type of wonder. I ain't going to say state everywhere. But roll real quick, okay? Take your day trips and get out.
Right.
But have that same energy when it comes to impacting global views, because that's what the biggest thing is. We're only
That's
here.
it.
We only have a domestic view. Our views expand globally when we see how people live in other countries,
Yes.
across the ocean, or wherever you going. But we have to experience and it's a little bit different when folks come over here and they share their culture and community, but really going into a space and seeing how people live. And sometimes, acclimating so what a day in a life of
Yes.
looks like. Don't get me started. I'm here all
Girl.
day.
Yes.
That's why I always say,
No, I love.
get your passports.
I
when y'all
love
come.
that.
Yes.
That's
yes.
right.
And I'm big on that as well. I've always encouraged my children to go hop them flights. I recall most recently assisting LJ on her first solo flight somewhere, and she asked me. So we pulled up the app. We looked at the layout of the airport, and I told her what to look for, because y'all know I'll leave the country in a heartbeat by myself. I have no problem doing so. Y'all, and that's, wait a minute, let me put a pin in that, because I just got a quick download. I want to take this opportunity to go ahead and encourage that single woman and that single man that's listening. Take that trip. Do not wait for your love partner to be on your arm before you get your passport stamp. I repeat.
That's right.
Do not wait for a man or a woman to be by your side, whether it be a love relationship, whether it be your good girlfriends and them. Listen, it's okay to jump on a flight by yourself and go seize and to snatch the name of your show, to seize your own piece of happy, people. Go on out there and do something.
Scope out the land so you know where to bring them back to if they come along. Right?
I understand that your boo may not want to go. I'm just saying,
that too.
I got to convince.
Okay, I was gonna say that too. Maybe your boo is just upstairs, but I'll be back.
Right?
Actions make the heart grow fonder. I'm not giving relationship advice. Never mind. Never mind. I'll be back in 7 days.
Oh yeah, like this girlfriend trip, I'm out.
That's good though. That's good.
Yes. That's something I had actually implemented while I was still married. After the children were old enough to be able to pick up the phone and call me and tell me, that's when I started bouncing around. So there. Go travel, y'all. Don't wait, because you will miss out on so much of life, so much beauty. The conversations that you have with random strangers sitting in the airport, maybe even at the resort. I know we made some lasting bonds with folks traveling abroad, where we would schedule, hey, let's meet XYZ next year for vacation. And it was great. And not for nothing.
Friends in Paris that came here after we met them for their first time, and we've been
that's how it happens. People are what I'm learning, especially now after the world is reopened up. There's so many people who are so generous and willing to help you live the dream.
Yeah.
And so, but you can't know that unless you get outside and socialize, or even be brave enough to book that trip by yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Definitely.
So true.
Definitely.
Can't say it enough. Can't, young, old, whatever it is, but y'all in a little bit of my reflections of purpose. So I'm gonna back us up on that here.
For those of you who are tuned in to Unhinged Live. I'm your host, Tilted Halo, sitting alongside my good girlfriend, Karen Sims of Twisted Threads. And of course, we are having an awesome conversation with tonight's guest, the lovely Miss Jamie Watkins, host and author, My Piece of Happy. So, girlfriend, is there anything that you would like to do that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm kind of getting a message I shouldn't be getting right now.
I'm sorry. You know what? It's gonna work. Is there anything, as you've done the work to recognize your own childhood traumas, right? Is there one specific word of advice you would have for someone under the age of 18, because they don't necessarily process information the same way we do as adults? Something for them on their level.
Good. So I have the teens. Well, my oldest is 20, should be 21. I would say that you're not your worst mistake. That I think, yes. And I've had to have that conversation, and it's proved very helpful. I think I'm going to take that two parts, okay? To the parent that has a child under 18, I think it's important that we don't forget what it was like to be under 18. Even though, yes, we didn't have the same technology, we weren't as exposed to as much as the youth today, but that only adds to some of the things that they are experiencing. It has helped my children, I think, me being so transparent and saying like, hey, I did that, or this happened, or instead of taking on that, like, I can only be a parent, and let me just tell you how you messed up and what you did wrong and what you need to be doing with all my 40-something-year-old wisdom. Because like you said, right, they don't process the same. And so now you have that parent supporting, being transparent, right? Parenting, still parenting, responsibility, but I think that can come with that, right? Letting them know the human cues. Don't feel like I'm this, uh-oh, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. That must have been on my end. So I would say to let them know that they are not defined by their worst mistake. And as we know, right, you make a lot of them in that growing up and trying to figure out what's what. And that shame, that guilt, I'm helping 40-year-old women deal with, going back to that time, right? To say, embrace your story. Embrace your story. You know how the enemy gets us? With shame, with guilt, with embarrassment, with not talking about it, with suppressing. That just holds you in place. Embrace, you know what? I did this, that, and the other. It happened to me. It shouldn't have, but it did. And none of that defines me solely. All of that makes me who I am today. Yeah. And so I think if we can help children to embrace the journey along the way, to help them, not even correct, right? You learn and you grow, right? When you mess up, I would say, and I use that loosely. I don't even like to say fail, but because you learn and you grow. So was it really a fail, right? But when you go through circumstances and situations, to just kind of embrace the grace of it. I really had to have a strong talk with my son. He was trying to, spiral in this dark, like, I don't want to leave the house. I've just done this horrible thing. And I'm like, I've done that. I know how that feels. It sucks right now. You do feel like, you're scum of the earth and the worst person ever, right? I had to relate to that, him saying that, as opposed to like, okay, that's ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. No, I remember I did feel like that. That's real to you at the time when you're in that space, right? So, okay, I know you feel like that, but I promise you, it's going to be okay. I have felt like that. And the best thing you can do right now is, one, know that does not define you. That's something that you did. It's not who you are, right? That's why it's bothering you so much. And what can you do to make sure you don't repeat it, right? Learn from the lesson. Learn the lesson so it doesn't recycle back around, and make sure that you don't, because you don't want to feel like this anymore. And after, he went through that and weeks go by, about a month or so after that, he said, you know what really helped me is when you told me you did it, because I had felt so alone. And he was like, then I knew, like, okay, well, it's not just me. I'm like, no, it's not just you, which goes back to what I started with women and us sharing our stories, right? You're not alone. It's not just you. It's not just you, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. So that, I think, would be my answer to under 18, to embrace the grace along the journey. You are not your worst mistake.
Thank you. That was good stuff. I can still apply that now, and I'm a teenager at this stage.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm certain I'm not alone. Because even now, as we've all done these amazing things, right? We've faced our healing journeys head on, and we still have to battle the voices inside of our heads that try to come back and take you back to believing the lie the enemy told us. So I'm just grateful for being a part of the family of faith, where we're able to go ahead and dip into the well of knowledge that we have about God our Father, to go ahead and speak those things he believes about us to ourselves. Like, I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above.
Yes.
I'm not beneath. I'm a lender. I'm not a borrower. Even when it doesn't look like it or feel like it. What is that? You girl, I can't see.
It says embrace your narrative.
Yes.
It says embrace your narrative, and it's what you're saying, right? We need to get a narrative around who God says we are and embrace that thing, speak that thing, so that our voice and God's voice is louder, because the enemy, it is going to happen, right? He's not going to give up, but he also not going to win. We already winning. So embrace that narrative.
The fight is fixed.
Love it. That's right.
Love it. Jamie, we have enjoyed spending this time focusing on you. I promise.
Thank you so much for having me.
And all of the work that you're doing. So, can you just remind and share with our viewers the different ways that they can connect with you, and share any details about your books or other products that you might want to share with our audience?
Yes, well, I have the book, My Piece of Happy, A Self-Love Journey to Happiness, Purpose, and Lifestyle Success. And that is part my story, memoir, how it's going, how it started, and then how it's going, which is lots of coaching and tools on how to get to the greater and the purpose and your piece of happy. I just recently, it's actually in pre-order, since this is live, right? So it's live right now. It's in pre-order. This is the proof, so that won't be there, but 90-day lifestyle success journal, which is guided. So I'm giving you a focus for the week. I'm on the wrong side. A focus for the week and taking you through. That's 90 days. And then I have a plan with purpose, a guided planner. And This is just full of goodness too. So that's available for pre-order. Everything is My Piece of Happy. So PEACE, social media, the website, the talk show, I'll be easy to find. Just My Piece of Happy.
Love it. All right. Well, we're not going to stop this wonderful conversation, but we got some other things that Jamie is going to stick around with us for, to continue with the discussion on some of our other segments. And so we're happy and excited to have her voice as we kind of go through some other things. So, Tilted, what might be up next on the list of segments for us right now?
Huh? Listen,
I knew I was going
trying to sketch out on us again. That's all, and I will address it.
That part, I knew I was going to need
I'm
the fan
not
out.
sure I heard the entirety of what you asked, Karen.
Sure enough. So I was just wondering what's the next thing we segue into. But I don't mind directing tonight. So let me put my director hat on. There we go. All right. So now listen, I can't do the song though, but I'm thinking that we push on over to.
Oh, I could do it. I could do it. I'm actually watching us on both screens.
Lordy.
So I can tell. Look, I can tell what's going on. Y'all see me going like this. It's not so much that, my ADD is acting up. It's just that I got a whole nother monitor over here to check on technical difficulties that might occur.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm gonna do the segment opener. Hold up. Need a little something from the coat tea.
All right. I got my tea over here. And nobody ain't asked. I'm just telling.
It's just a little water. Anyway,
I got tea. So if y'all mad at the honey, be mad at that. That's all I can tell you on that.
All right. You got your remote control?
I got something. I don't know what I got right now. Okay, here we go. We're gonna
It's a
put
whole cell phone that can also
listen.
function as a remote control.
Here we go.
It's time to point your remote control at your TV screen. Merrily, 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 find something to stream. That's right. We about to get into the conversation about everything we've enjoyed as we were spending our time in position as couch potatoes, recliner potatoes, bed potatoes, wherever you are when you view whatever it is that you're viewing. But before we get into specific viewing on tonight, of course, y'all know if you've been in the group engaging with us, you know I posted about a week or so ago which singer is the weakest link. It was out of Neo, Chris Brown, Jamie Foxx, and of course Trey Songz. And it was basically unanimous that Jamie Foxx, you know, after we flipped the question, who's the best? Jamie Foxx came out swinging on top. And I'm bringing him up because we came into recent news that Jamie Foxx was hospitalized and is still currently hospitalized at the time of this broadcast with an undefined medical emergency. This medical emergency, from what I've been able to explore, happened offset of this film that he's currently filming for Netflix. So I want to go ahead and put Jamie's name in the air. So many of us are fans. And, you know, since we received the news that he was hospitalized, I know I've been all over the Spotify listening to Unpredictable, the album, hey, Intuition, the album, of course, and even going even further back and listening to some of the collaborations he did with other artists. Of course, you know, I had to get my slow jam on. Shout out to him, Twister, and Kanye. But if we could just take 30 seconds right now and just take a moment of silence where we could just lift our personal prayers on behalf of our brother Jamie. We know he's iconic, another living icon. So we just want to just go ahead and acknowledge his needs right now. 30 seconds. All right, thank you all. I hope you covered him. I know I did, and I've been covering him because he has so much more work to do.
Yes.
And I mean, not for nothing, you know, who will ever forget the performance he gave us in Ray? I Want More. But of course, not our will. God's will is going to be done in this situation. So we're not only extending heartfelt thoughts and prayers and support of Jamie Foxx and his healing process, we also want to lift up his daughter, Corinne, who is his biggest cheerleader, biggest fan, and who is also his spokesperson as she's an influencer herself. So Karen, what you been watching? What you been watching?
So, you know, I caught up with Pride. And I may or may have not been sucked into the Lifetime vortex. You know, we normally don't mention the channels and whatnot because they're not yet paying us that part. But Stephanie Mills was over there in the production of Pride, the 7 Deadly Sins. And so it was her and nephew Tommy. Who all else was over there? It was a couple of names and faces, and so a really good production. You know, some of us forget, maybe y'all only know Stephanie for singing, but she definitely has been a movie and Broadway actress for all of the years that I have known. And so super excited to see her. Nephew Tommy was over there acting up and, you know, trying to kill off people and whatnot. God bless him. But it was a good story. And so they talked about, you know, how Pride comes in, and similar to how we talk about childhood trauma, how pride comes in and causes us to hide details about what could be healing to somebody else. And it really was about the next generation moving through the trauma and kind of uncovering the starting of the healing process, I think. And so a lot of topsy-turviness, ups and downs, some people, fighting for their position in the family, like no newbies gonna come in and take my place, but very well written, a good story. Stephanie Mills played I'm just gonna say it was very kind of close to the Sweetie Pie storyline.
Yes.
That part, I was like, ooh. So for those of you who didn't follow Sweetie Pie, go ahead and follow Sweetie Pie. But I thought all of the acting was good. They really did have a strong story, had strong actors that played, and I definitely recommend the watch. Just make sure that you get somebody who's gonna get you out of that lifetime vortex, because y'all know once y'all get in it, it's gonna be Monday and the whole weekend is gone, and you done watch 55.
That's why I can't do it. I can't do it. That's exactly why. I'd be like, this is a series. No, I'm not watching that.
Sure,
Not gonna get me.
they had Lust and Pride. I think this was the 7th one. So there are other versions of different stories that have come through over the years. And so I think this one is the final in that. If not the final, it's like 5 or 6. So they're close to the end. But y'all know they play all of the ones all day long. And then that was the 8 p.m. And then, and my boo is like, oh no, I'm not even sitting down because I already know you. I know where to find you. That's it. And it's like, well, come save me because somebody got come and just pull the plug out the TV so I can blink and go on with the rest of the day.
Throw food and water at him.
It's a trap.
Listen here. Yeah, but look, at your recommendation, I took my time and made time to watch Pride so I could weigh in on your perspective. I agree, it was well written. I enjoyed the storyline. Nephew Tommy definitely acted a purity fool as his mother's child. I really appreciate how at some point Stephanie Mills' character had an aha moment and just really took ownership as to how she basically enabled her boy as she was making sure her granddaughter was okay. So yeah, it was a good viewing. Lots of lessons could be taken from that production, and I'm grateful for what you highlighted from the movie, Karen. So yeah, I was over there on that other streaming app that's been threatening to shut people down for password sharing, right? I was watching, of course, I'm always looking for something new, something different, because my ADHD be acting up 85% of the time when it comes to these movies. So I came across a movie titled When Hands Touch. And I decided to go ahead and press play, and I'm so glad that I did. I like to keep my eye on these up and coming African American actors and actresses specifically. And I want to go ahead and acknowledge Miss Amanda Stenberg for the amazing job she did playing her role in When Hands Touch. This young lady, we initially, she's got a nice sized body of work.
Mm-hmm.
But many of us will most remember her from the movie The Hate U Give that came out some years ago. Now, this movie, When Hands Touch, was basically set in Hitler's Berlin situation, where they were going around picking up people who were confirmed of German descent, full-blood German or Aryan. I really don't like to use that word, but full-blood Aryan, and shipping them off to different camps. But her story centered on the fact that she was half German and half Negro. as they said it in the film. And it was amazing. You get to see a love story develop between this young lady and a full Aryan young man who had actually been enlisted in Hitler's army. So you see how their love progresses over the course of this time. She was actually required to be sterilized because she was of mixed heritage. They used the M word, y'all, to describe her in the movie. So for those of you who get easily triggered by the race conversations, whether they be, something in the movie you're watching, something that you're reading, tread lightly. I got to give you small spoilers so you don't, send yourself into a space you don't need to go into. But this is what's, being depicted in this film. And ultimately, some things transpire and you find out that the young lady is not necessarily sterile. And the young man, that's her love interest, his father, is a senior officer in Hitler's army. And the ending, wow, is all I have to say. So again, y'all heard what I said at the beginning of my brief review. Y'all know where to find it, and keep your eye out for this young lady. As I gave Miss Dom her shout outs and her acknowledgement for the work she did with Swarm, I want to go ahead and shout out Amanda Stenberg. This one here is giving me young Viola vibes. Yes.
Ooh,
and
okay.
she's giving me Viola all day, every day. Because of how she's able to stretch and become exactly what's required to bring the story to life in her roles.
Yeah, and for those who may have only think that you all were introduced to her in The Hate U Give, she also was Little Rue in the Hunger Games. I don't remember the first one. But remember her in her fighting spirit then, and so she's definitely bodying these characters and bringing some good work to us as she builds up her career accolades. So looking forward to see more of that.
But she did that thing there. So I'm looking at the clock because we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. We're gonna go ahead and shift gears yet again and move this train steadily forward. Chugga 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 chugga. Chugga 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 chugga. Chugga 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 chugga. We like to be silly and help y'all get y'all chuckle on. Look at that pretty smile on your face, Jamie.
I felt like I'm like.
Here we go.
Enjoy the ride. We have, Karen and I communicate off air pretty often. And of course, silly likes to come out of me at any given moment. And, we were discussing some petty deal breakers. So y'all already know what it is. It's time for views from the petty pew. Good Lord. Now listen, I'm gonna segue this one because I think I'm the single one on the panel. I'm not betrothed, I'm not engaged. Don't nobody really know if I'm single. Don't nobody even really know if I'm really in a relationship. I don't even know.
No, are you admitting or denying right now?
Huh?
You're not giving no information right now.
So not, because that's not your business. That's not your business. But check it out. I was sharing because, I have to check myself because I'm a September Virgo and I can be the queen of petty. I mean, throw so much shade that I eclipse an oak tree and what it can throw. So check it out. I decided at one point in my dating journey to stop speaking to somebody because they didn't even realize they weren't familiar with the game Candyland. See, they had asked me the question, do I play board games? And I was like, do I play board games? I got stacks of board games. So we were just throwing out names. And when I said Candyland, brother went, ah! And that's when I was done. So
That's when you knew.
huh?
So that's when you knew that this is
That's
not
when
going
I
to work
knew.
out.
I just went on and no. Because if you don't know what candy is, I want, and I question your upbringing. I mean, who doesn't know what Candyland is? So for me, in seeking some encouragement, I wanted to find out, because I knew that was a petty deal breaker, a petty deal breaker, because I can be petty.
Oh, Lord.
What would be a petty deal breaker for either one of you ladies?
I'm
And
gonna let
it
you go
doesn't,
ahead
and
first,
because y'all
Jamie.
both y'all married and betrothed and got rings.
Jamie, I'm
Listen.
gonna let you go first.
Okay, I could go so many places, but since you went board game, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna get petty into things on people. So
Right.
I'll say the color purple.
What?
If you
What
tell
about
me you don't, if you tell me you haven't watched it, you don't
Okay,
like
all
it,
right,
then
all right. This our people right here. Girl,
Yeah,
I got
that's
words.
it.
Oh Lord, I got words.
oh no. I mean I could talk this whole call could have
I
been
agree.
just
I
lines from the
agree.
color purple. So
You too. Until
Listen,
you right by
you
me.
write about everything you even think about this kind of thing.
love it, love it, love it. And I feel like you miss some lessons, and that's the reason why I agree with you on that. Because if you don't watch The Color Purple, you miss some lessons, and now I got to catch you up.
Right.
And you're gonna make me work hard. Here's the deal. Real life, I had a person who decided that they didn't want to celebrate my birthday.
What? Let me eat some snacks. Hold up. Go ahead.
So
Look,
what
let
had
me get
happened
my
was, and this is a real life story, because what had happened was clearly, I don't even know what happened. I can't even tell you. All I know
They didn't
is
know better. They didn't know
everybody
better.
on
who
the
know me
basis.
know if you don't celebrate your own birthday, you best to come through and celebrate mine in some type of way, shape, or form. It is not about the dollar that you spend, but it is about the thought that you impart. And when he showed me that there was no impartation of thought on my birthday, he was gone the day after. Now, mind you, he must have thought that, oh, I better make this right. So I got flowers the day after. But boo, it's too late at that point. Because I only
It's
got
after
one thing.
midnight.
I'm not the person, Jamie, that you gotta take out all. Listen, it's after midnight. You got to go. It was like, oh, you thought this was a joke. Like, no, treat me like it's tax day today. For all y'all who gonna watch later on today in our broadcast reviews, it is tax day. If you did not file your extension, trust me that when you wake up in the morning,
It's
Uncle
after
Sam gonna add
midnight.
3% to whatever you owe. Okay, he don't
That's
care
right.
nothing about whether. So that's my only thing. Now there are other things that are because while you said tilted the deal breaker, I asked the question in our conversation, well, is it 3 strikes you out, or is this like a connect 4? So 3 strikes you out, and then I need 4 things that we connected on. Because one, sorry brothers, we don't got no brothers on here to actually represent on y'all for y'all, but you need to be gainfully employed. You have to have a plan or some sort of something for your life. Because if you don't know it, I can't help you with it. Number 3, you gotta love God and at least like some of his people, okay?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna let that be the 4. Love God and like some. I ain't asking you to like all of them because neither do I. The altar is available to you and me both. So move over when you get over there.
We can hold hands on the altar.
So if we got it that you gainfully employed, because I can't take care of you. You can't do that. You.
Oh, I'm sorry. I felt that thing.
Listen, I'm in.
Yes, I'm concurring. I'm concurring.
You got a plan for your life, or at least are currently seeking. See, we have a certain age that it's okay if you don't know how you get there, but there should be a thought for, I'm gonna be going on I-95 north or south. Like, I don't know which way we should at least know we're gonna go on 95 or 85, even if we don't know what the direction is gonna be. So you got a plan. You believe, you love God and love some of his people. That them is the connect 4. If we could connect on those things, listen, prayer, the power of prayer, and Jamie, I know you know this. The power of prayer will fill in all the other things. Not Karen. I can't fill in nothing. I ain't your mama.
Yes, I was gonna say, just don't put it on me. Coming from this place of I have my piece of happy, I'm gonna need you to have yours.
Ooh, I like
not
that.
Hold me responsible for making you happy. Okay, I'm gonna need
I
us
have
to bring
my
it with
piece
us.
of happy. Donnell, I see you out there in the comment streets. Can you type that in the chat box for me, sis? I have my piece of happy.
Some key lessons. Now you gotta know what you was born for. Okay, that's what D say. Know what you was born for. Listen, even if you don't know how to get there, because we believe the scripture, he that findeth the wife findeth the good thing and find favor with the Lord. If you got a good woman, she gonna help you multiply some things. But the last time I had math class, zero
multiply, but now you I was gonna say you multiply zero by anything is zero.
That part.
You got to have something, baby. You got to bring something for me to work with.
Something from nothing leaves nothing. Hey, you gotta have something if you want to be with me. Hey, oh, what is the other one? No romance without finance.
Going on with the red. Listen,
I'm sorry.
The Jersey vibe, so y'all know already.
Well, you did say J.O.B. That was covered.
That part.
I mean, but that makes sense. Now, we didn't answer the question though. Is it 3 strikes you're out?
I don't know.
Nah, bruh.
Look, 3. I'm thinking like 3 is a lot.
The birthday count for 3 counts, but 3 counts.
It's weighted. It's weighted.
It is.
Okay,
it's a weighted thing. Yeah, because if you talk strange to me, that's all 3 of your strikes right there. Don't talk.
Right. Okay. Then I'm with you. I'm with you on that. We gotta have weighted. Some stuff 3 is a lot.
Jamie,
on the weight, that's a lot.
If you talk to me crazy, that means I gotta match you. And now here we are in the courthouse, and it ain't for no rings. That's all I got to say. So talk to me sweet.
Right. Look what you made me do.
Listen, I'm in North Carolina now, so I tell them, y'all know I ain't from here, right? And they like, oh, look at me. You don't want Jersey, Karen. Y'all can handle North Carolina. That's the version the Lord to bless you with. Keep it there, okay? That part. Y'all don't need to see Jersey. She ain't coming here for nothing nice. She ain't coming here for nothing nice.
Thank you so much, ladies, for participating in this extended version of Views from the Petty Pew. We got to go ahead and move the train because I'm watching the clock. I'm trying to act right and stay within format, but you already know it's Unhinged. I'm gonna do what I want to do over here. All right. So it's already time. So if you haven't already, y'all already see I haven't started snack, and I got a granola bar here on standby along with my Reese's Pieces. But it is time for views from it's time for what's really going on. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What's really going on? Karen, you had to do that, didn't you? You just had to put that there. So we are here. Those of you who have cell phones that get the smart news break app, just push a little information through. If you pick up your remote control and you turn on a news channel, you might have heard it reported that there was yet another unfortunate killing of an African-American young male in one of the most mishappened situations. I'm going to say it that way because I'm trying to act right, y'all. That was a commitment to myself this year. Act right, Keita. But yeah, brief synopsis of the story. We're going to say his name because thankfully this young man did not perish.
Yes,
he was shot and is in recovery. He actually was shot in his attempt to go ahead and be a good big brother, going to pick up his younger brothers from a friend's home, and he was unfortunate enough to ring the doorbell of the wrong person. This 84-year-old man came to the door and shot this young man in the arm and in the head. Thankfully, again, he survived these unfortunate, unnecessary injuries and is recovering in the hospital. I'm coming in petty right now.
Trigger.
Listen, trigger. Hey, I'm coming in petty right now. And it's not even petty because, in my opinion, it's the absolute truth. I was able to view a picture of the gentleman who shot this young man. And I promise you, I was like, you the face of the Klan and the Confederacy all in one. You are 84 years old. What was on your mind when you made the decision to go to the door and just shoot without asking questions? And then I'm pretty sure he feels justified in sharing with the responding officers and such that he felt endangered. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. He felt endangered. I'm tired of Caucasian men of a certain age using that excuse when it, to commit some random act of violence, whether it be verbal or physical, to justify harming an African-American young man. This 16-year-old young man was a musician, and he has dreams of becoming an engineer. He is a musician and has dreams of becoming an engineer. And he was being a good son, using his driver's license that he had to study to get, and be trustworthy enough to use his mama's car, whoever car he was driving, to go get his brother. You think he was coming to your door for folly, man? Get out of here with all of that.
What about his demeanor? Not that it's I don't care if he was wearing a hoodie, but what about his demeanor? He wasn't. Like, what about his demeanor when you see this kid said threat outside of his skin, right? And then what about him? I don't know what shot was first. I might have missed that detail, whether it was the arm or the head. Pretty sure he wasn't moving after he got shot in the head. So if you shot him in the arm, I'm pretty sure his instinct was to grab his arm, not go towards you. So still, where is the threat? Like, it's just, we know what it is. I mean, we know what it is.
Yep. And the biggest thing with this, it was the arm first, and then the head. And the challenge.
So you immobilized the threat, and then you felt the need to still
to shoot him in the head,
and then shoot to kill.
Because that's shooting to kill. That you meant to kill him. You didn't mean to save your life, and anybody that knows anything about guns, there are, we all know there are pressure points. There are points you could shoot somebody to stop them, slow them down, and then there are places that you up here.
You shoot to kill. That's a kill shot.
Literally. The intent was to kill.
Yes.
The challenge is that this is a trigger event for so many of us. I was watching commentary from The View, and one of the hosts was saying, this is the worst nightmare of every Black and brown mother.
I have 3 boys.
Yes.
16, 18, and 19. And to have to reiterate every time, like, listen, if something happens, you can't say, well, go to the closest house and ask for help.
Yeah. Because this is
you can't say, call 911, call the cops. You can't say that. Like,
come on. And I think that's the point that really resonates with me, is that there's not a safe house. There's not a safe place. Like, it's like, even if you did feel threatened or you didn't know where you were going, I'm sorry, sir, I got the wrong address. Clearly, this is not the place that, my brother and sister or whoever it was he was picking up. Let me go check with my mom and see, I'll go ahead and get off of your property. There is one thing, and most oftentimes, here's the challenge. You are concealed carry only. You're a gun carrier. Normally, you're supposed to. Not every state. You shoot one in the air to let somebody know, I got a gun and I'm going to use it. I do believe that Missouri is one of those states. North Carolina is one of those states where if someone enters your home, you don't have to shoot a warning shot. Literally, your first shot is the shot you get once they cross the threshold. That is where
Okay.
you say, I felt like my life was in danger. I felt when you walk into my house as a perpetrator, I don't care who you are. If you walk into somebody's house, they have the right enters, but you gotta cross
But he
the
shot him through the
threshold
door, so
from the outside. It could be the mailman. It could be
Mhm.
a door dasher. It could be anybody. But when he saw, this was instinct. This wasn't about and whether people want to take out race or not. This was about, I see a black man, I see a black boy, I see a black person that does not deserve to be here in my
Mm.
and I tell you another thing, because and I don't know, so this is speculation, but he's driven there, he parks, he pulls up, maybe the car's still running because he thinks he's just gonna grab them and go. He pulls up, he shuts his door. At some point, he saw a car pulled up, right? So you had time to process to go get your gun because you see it's a black.
Mhm.
You had time to just say, I'm just gonna kill this person when they come. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like not like what do they want? What are you looking for? Not like I'm gonna maybe put double locks on the door and
Right.
speak out the window, right? Not open the door because I see who it is. You shot through the door because you knew who it was.
Yeah.
You had an intent to harm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Prayers go
And
out to the family because
Yes, he is home
is
recovering too.
there's no scenario that this hits well. I don't care who you are. There's no scenario that this can be justified, can feel well. We will be watching the news to see whether there's a spin on it, whether how it goes out. But shout out to the entire
we could
family
get true justice.
shout out to the entire family. We praying.
Yes.
And I know the three of us here on our platform are definitely doing our part to be the change we want to see in the world. But this man, y'all heard me trying to rationalize this before we started broadcasting, and I'm thinking maybe he's one of the people who's facing some desperate times in the near immediate future. And maybe at 84 years old, and maybe I think this way because you all know the work I do with social services. I'm thinking, well, maybe he's at the end of life, maybe he's running out of funding, maybe he's trying to get him some free housing for the rest of his life as well as health care. Or maybe he got a terminal diagnosis that caused him to respond. I be trying, y'all. I be trying.
The benefit of the doubt. I hear you.
That's it.
There's so many places you could go and not there.
Yeah, I know, but that's not it. That's not it. I be trying.
Thank you for trying.
We
appreciate the effort. We appreciate
I like
the
to
effort.
spread my light, but my light can't cover this foolishness at all.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form.
You try the spirit by the spirit, and we know what that spirit is.
We know what it was because as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, the little sound the suspense.
Yes.
That's the sound I heard when I saw the picture.
Well, you know what he heard? He heard boop boop. That's the sound of the police. That part. That's what he heard. That's what he heard. It's too much.
Oh man. So look, check it out. Because this is not on the sheet, but I'm so excited because we recently received the news that Damar Hamlin has been cleared to return to football.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes. Really?
Yes, he has been cleared medically to return to football.
I can't. I wouldn't be able to watch it. I just can't. Come on, young man. I just want him to do something. I just want him to do something else. Just come on, me. Like you. Thank God, right? But let's not do that again. Let's not do that again.
Okay to play. He okay to play.
But I don't know.
He okay. And I think this is an exciting thing for whether he actually, whether they put him out there or not is two different things. Because
well, that's true.
He's okay to play. He's got to make it through the season. He still got to do all of the doctor stuff to make sure he continues to have that clearance. I think for the game of football, definitely a big deal. I know I wouldn't be watching.
It's the mom in me. I'm not
Jamie, I'm
It's like,
a
oh, my
football
baby can't
mom,
go,
so I'm out
can't
there
go
like
back
we
out there.
knocking,
Oh,
we
I'm
knocking
not.
everybody out. We knocking this year, we knocking
Oh,
everybody out. But prayers for him.
okay.
Glad to hear it. And we'll be keeping an eye out because I agree. You know, many folks that wasn't their story. We've known of other players that had medical emergencies on the field, and that was it. Like, but
Yes.
God, and the power of prayer and God's just healing power. Here he is to do something else, you know, with his story. So
Yeah.
we pray as God continues to unfold what he can do. So yeah.
Yeah. I see you, Donnell.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I see you.
I'm with her.
I gotta say, like, I'm not I'm really a go hard football mom, but in this particular case, I'm here for it. Go ahead and wear the jersey and pass out the Gatorade or something.
That
He
I'm
can be
here
more
for.
than
You
the
gotta
water
pay
boy,
him.
Karen.
I'm sorry, like you
He
know,
can be more than the water. He can be
put
like
me
what,
out there,
defense coach.
but not me, because I'm
Something.
knocking everybody out.
Me, he's already one of the safest safety. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
He
Hey,
can play one game. He can play one game.
when that
Yesterday
happened,
night,
immediately I was like, there is no prayer I can pray that's going to be more than what his mother is praying. So my only prayer was I come into alignment with his mother's prayer. Like, God, I'm meeting at the throne for whatever she asking. I know that.
right.
Thank you for our prayer directive for the week, Jamie. That's so on point. That is so on point.
Some people, we always praying different things. You know, some people was praying for their brackets. We gonna put it right out there. They weren't praying for
Oh Lord.
They was praying for their brackets, their fantasy football. But I agree.
Yes.
You drinking this oil before you go on that field. I'm sorry. You're not slathering nothing. This thing going through your veins. Okay?
Throw that back.
Honey, we cooking your green beans with this anointing oil. That's what we doing over here. Okay? Mine already know it.
Y'all already know, lift your hands.
They already know.
We taking him like this. Just sliding out.
What is that mock caster oil? Just go ahead and drink it back. Ain't nobody playing with y'all.
You want to make sure you're clean inside, praise God.
Lord,
hallelujah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are Unhinged and we are all the way live at this moment in time. I want to go ahead again and say thank you for tuning in and ask you to prepare yourself. Look, I got to fix my jewelry because it's a little, crooked. And so I can show up right at the table as we prepare for another reflection of purpose brought to us by our very own in-house master life coach, Miss Karen of Twisted Thread. So Karen, take it away.
I'm here, excited. I need y'all to know, we celebrated last week. Twisted Threads turning 5 years old. Listen, there's still so much more that's coming on. But here's the thing with the celebration that came. Y'all know I always title these reflections of purpose. And today's title is The Good China. When we think of celebrations, many of us want to put on our best, and we get the hair right, we get the nails did, we pull out the extra special jewelry. Same thing in the household. We pull out the good china. For those of you who grew up in a particular area, we used to have good china. I don't know if that's still a thing now, but when you had good china, you pulled the good china out for the special guests. You pulled the good china out for the special occasion. So maybe it was Easter and Christmas that you had the good china. I want to remind us today that some of those times have passed. It's a great tradition to hold on to. But here's a reason to pull out the good china, because it's Tuesday at 8:30 p.m., because you got home before the sun came down, because everybody who you count as your household and loved one is present and accounted for. We will remember to pull out the good china as we see so many people. And this has been a difficult week for me as I see so many of my friends and associates, loved ones in mourning over the loss of someone who is special to them. I am reminded there is no better time than right now to pull out your good china. That means put the dress on, put those shoes on. And I don't care if you're going to Wally World or you just going down to get you some eggs and milk. That's an expensive date these days. So go ahead and put on your best. Get your lashes on. Pull out that good china and remember that every day is worth celebrating. And so we just want you to operate in that spirit where you get to say, today I'm worth it. Today, I'm not just enough. I'm more than enough for this celebration. And even if there is a party of one, make sure you show up for you every moment of celebration that you get. Tomorrow's not promised. So why are we pulling out the good china? Because we here today. So excited. That's why I told y'all we was getting into this little section of my purpose. Pull out your good china and know that even if there are moments you think you are not worth it, we know for sure you're worth it.
That's right.
That's your reflections of purpose.
Thank you so much, Karen.
Love it.
That's exactly it. Yes, I do already have my good china out for this evening. Using your good china, y'all need to take notes. That'll help you save money. You know, if you're one of the people that always buys paper plates and things, nothing wrong with the paper plates, but try not to use them daily. You are worth the good china. So before I get into the outro and my Just Be commentary, Jamie, do you have any last words of encouragement for our listeners before we sign off?
I will second what Karen said, right? Know that you are worth it. And as hard as it will be, because this journey can be hard, know that you can do hard things. You've done it before, you could do it again, and you're worth the work.
I know that's right. So y'all already know what it is. Thank you again. I'm absolutely grateful that you decided to tune in. And I'm going to encourage you as we head on out this door this evening to go ahead and just be. And to play off the title of our guest show, I want you to go ahead and just be happy. You know, the dictionary would define happy as a feeling or showing pleasure, having a sense of confidence in or satisfaction with, fortunate, willing to do something. There are many definitions of happy. And check it out. Your version of happy is very unique to who you are. So tonight, I want to go ahead and encourage you to just be happy, because guess what? You are worth all of the positive emotions and feels as you go ahead and live out this life in full-on happiness. So we are done. All right. It's your girl Tilted Halo, Karen Sims, and the lovely queen, Jamie Watkins. Thank you for joining us tonight, Jamie. And Unhinged Live, we are out.